Well, hey, everybody, all around the world, in the remotest reaches of the YouTube universe, you are tuned into the one and only Michael Nelson. First Samuel 15:23. For rebellion is as the sin of divination. Some translations say witchcraft. And insubordination as iniquity and idolatry. People in America forget that. Women pride themselves in being a B word, being obstinate. Men pride themselves in nobody going to control me. The Harley Davidson crowd, the in your face feminist movement. But if I told you that this was a long time ago in the making, would you believe it? I want to thank Chrysler, not the Dodge car company, but Chrysler, one of my viewers, for pointing out something. My cousin, when I was in high school, told me that Stevie Nicks was a witch. I didn't know that. I grew up on her music. Stevie Nicks was a part of my life. Fleetwood Mac. We talk about how horrible women dress. There you go. Ripped up, tattered clothing, dress barn stuff. And she's walking to what appears to be a sacrifice in her song, Sarah. We don't pay attention to music. We get hooked on it. Let me read you something. Daniel 3 is very fascinating. It's Friday, folks. If nothing else is good in your life, it's Friday. Well, it may not mean anything if you're retired, but us working people, Friday's a good thing. Unless you got to work weekends. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, Daniel 3, the height of which was 60 cubits and its width 60 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent word to assemble the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the rulers of the province to come to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, my addition, and all the rulers of the provinces were assembled for the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the herald loudly proclaimed, "To you the command is given, O peoples, nations, and men of every language, that at the moment you hear the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all kinds of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. But whoever does not fall down and worship it shall immediately be cast in the midst of a furnace of blazing fire." Therefore, at that time, when all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all kinds of music, all the peoples, nations, and men of every language fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were not going to have any part of this. Stevie Nicks had an abortion. She fooled around with Don Henley, and she was interviewed, and she said, "My music career was too important. My music gives people hope." Really? I didn't know that Stevie Nicks had her own gospel. People are going to get mad at me for this, but she's not pretty. She looks like any dress barn chick out there. And I read comments under one of her videos that said, the prettiest witch in America. Do you know how we get hooked? You know, if you were to tell Americans you will fall down and worship Donald Trump, 99% of them would say, heck no. But if you get music that makes you feel so good, you can worship Hare Krishna. My sweet Lord, hallelujah, Hare Krishna. Don't believe me? Read the lyrics. George Harrison was mocking Christians. He said, I think it's great. I'm singing to Hare Krishna and Christians are singing a song. Back in the day. I had a woman leave a comment. I was talking about marijuana and why Christians should have nothing to do with it. One wrote, look, there's shows we watch that God doesn't approve, and there's music. There's no way we can avoid sinning. You're right. But can we knock some of it out of our life? We take the baseball bat and pitch that ball out of the park on some things? I think so. We need music. Music is good. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, the Bible says. And there's some good secular music. I don't believe in throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but Stephen Hicks might ought to be reconsidered. She was promoting idolatry. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. My baby is not as important as my career. My music gives me hope. Let me tell you something. Everybody in the world has a gospel that they're trying to promote. And we're going to talk about women. And I've been reminded again how vulnerable I am. Husbands be the head of his house. You get involved with a woman, you let her bring in her culture, her music, her stuff, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have to be forced to terms. Who is on the throne in that house? And I'm telling you, from my observation in 60 years, most of the women are on the throne in the house. They're going to get their way, or else they'll take their ball and drain your bank account in the divorce courts. Not every woman is like this. Have to put the no-alt disclaimer. Yesterday, got caught up on some stuff. And I went into the warehouse, and every time I turn on the lights in the morning, the spider webs around the skylights are ridiculous. A lot of warehouses did skylights so you have natural light. But we still have lights. And the spider webs were like trapezes and ropes. Dead flies and everything. I took the scissors lift. I want to see how high it go. And I went all the way up and took that broom and it was amazing. When I got down on the ground, I'm like, that looks much better. And the light comes through better. I mean, these spider webs had to be 30, 40 years old. Ropes, dirty, all the dust. One daddy longlegs looked at me and bolted. I said, eviction day. I had spider webs all over me. I had to wash when I got home. I went over and bumped a spider web by the back of the warehouse, and the daddy longlegs activated. He's thinking, ooh, fly? No, Michael. Who's Michael? The one who's evicting you. Bah! Spiders are cool, but I don't want them. Guess what? Michael eats when he talks. We talk about the Word of God. We wear women's fashion, and I do all kinds of crazy things. And I love it. I love it because people get on, wow, you're talking about Stevie Nicks. You dress like a woman. Yep, you're right. I'm not promoting Satan worship, though. The seduction, music. If Stevie Nicks were to come up and say, "You will worship Trump when you hear my song," she'd lose everybody. But she gets music that's so moving, she can put any words in there you want. She wants and have you joining in her Wicca ceremonies. Jimi Hendrix said that. With music, we can pump anything into a kid's head we want to. Somebody in a chat room years ago said, rock music is for people who don't take drugs. It is their drug. Well, it's also for drug addicts too, because they take drugs and listen to it. And apparently the whole thing comes together to just be a kaleidoscope of ecstasy between the high and the music. You're on a euphoric train to hell. Janis Joplin, the Beatles, and all rebels. All. Then we glorify these people. We glorify them. I mean, I've been caught in the spider web of music. But as I get older, I start to go, I'm not going to listen to that. I was reading about the piece. It was in the movie 2010, I believe. It's a classical piece, Thus Spake Zoroaster. Read about the composer and how he wrote that. It'll shiver your timbers. Bum, 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 bum. I was down at a friend's house in Florida years ago and watching his 9-year-old daughter, and she would sit in front of the TV and watch SpongeBob and Teen Titans Go. I threw myself on the couch. I said, "What is this crap you're watching?" SpongeBob is just stupid. Just stupid. But watch this. The gay creator had that run in 25 years. We're going to talk about the influence of homosexuality and people that are in total rebellion to God, total rebellion to his word. They're the stars. They've seduced us all. Stay with me. She's sitting on the couch, and a kid comes up on the screen. Dun, dun. All you see is his legs, back end. Dun, and he farts. I looked at the girl, I said, "Oh my gosh," and I lost it. And for the entire rest of the day, we both were doing that. She goes, "Mike." Dun, dun, dun. I said, "Stop, man. Just stop." I mean, that was funny. I'm trying to make my dinner in the kitchen and the living room all run together. I don't like those big open houses. I like living inside of a drum. You drop something in this room and you can hear it open. I'm like a ship. I like compartments, watertight compartments. You can shut this off. My house was too open. The living room, the dining room, or not the dining room, but the whole. You walk in the front door and it's like, I don't like this. This is out of here. Everybody's different. Like those lofts downtown Denver, they had them wide open. You can hear your neighbor's toilet flush. Wow, that's awesome. I paid $1,250,000 for this to hear your toilet flush. People are dumb. My YouTube friend and brother in Christ moved into a new apartment. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That pattern recognition man was stomping up and down the stairs and banging and stomping for an hour. And my buddy came out and said, "Hey, I'm trying to sleep. Could you keep it down?" This is the group that complains about Caucasians and how racist we are all day long. I don't give a F. You think music plays into that? Have you listened to the kind of music they all over there are listening to? I got a small penis. I'm trying to overcompensate for my meatballs. Let's say the F word 10 times. Let's say the N word 5 times. This ain't music, it's crap. People will tell me I'm racist for that. Nope. Speaking and spitting facts. Rap music sucks. It's not godly. There's nothing in the Bible that condones this foul stuff. Nothing. People praise Tupac, Snoop Dogg, Poopy Poo. I pooped in my pants today, poo. It's crap. It's a circling of the drain. They had it going on with Motown. They had it going on with Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald. They really had it going on when out of their suffering as slaves, when they made great spirituals. I've noticed something, and I love music. I love music. The best pieces that stand the test of time come out of suffering. I would like to hear the first black man that out of his suffering as a slave and the cruel tyranny of slavery and abuse, when he wrote those words and sang, "Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home." No, we're in 2 Timothy 3, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. But black men back in the day and black women clung to the Almighty. What happened? The more comfortable a nation is, the more we slide into the sewer. We're petty. We're not making good stuff. We're not making good literature. We're not making good art. We're not making good music. We turn our back on God and we think that this stuff today is good. Look at football. Look at what's happened to football. The halftime show has turned into just paganism and decadence. Bad Bunny. Now it's against decency to have patriotism. It's against decency to salute and respect the flag. And now we got to have Bad Bunny promoting God knows what. I realize I'm Gen X. I realize I push the envelope by the way I dress. But even me, at 60 years old, I'm going, you know what? There's Houston, we got a problem. People to this day wear Tupac shirts like he's a hero. He wasn't a hero. He's a godless clown. Godless. Why do we praise these people? Eminem. Angry Bird music. The Bible tells us all, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. The Bible also says, bad company corrupts good character. There's something evil about the evil, that the evil has more dominance over us than the good if we let it. Even Christians get caught up. Well, I don't want to offend. I don't want to rock the boat. What if Jesus said that? Well, I don't want to make the Pharisees mad. They're stealing money in the temple. No, flip them tables over. And that's what Michael does. We need to flip the tables over in the black community. We need to flip the tables over in the white community, the Asian community, the Hispanic community, the Christian community, Republican community, the Democrat community, the drug-infested culture community. Now Christians are doing drugs, defending, rationalizing, legitimizing it, and getting mad at me that I dare to speak out against it. Man, I speak out against my own sin, so shut your mouth. Put your big girl panties on and big boy underwear on and buck up, cowboy, buttercup, suck it up, whatever you got to do. We're not hearing this kind of preaching, and we got to hear the truth. Back in the day, we had record burning ceremonies. Now, some people take that too far. I think it's interesting that we're living in a dichotomy day. Dichotomy. I mean, it's sobering. J.K. Rowling was talking about this transgender thing. She's against it. And everybody's praising her. This is how off compass we are, okay? J.K. Rowling's going on and on about transgender, and I agree with her, except there's one problem. She wrote the Harry Potter series. Read this book. Read what it says in the Old Testament. Read what it says in the New. We're supposed to stay away from idols. Wow, that's wild. You see that? Martin Luther King felt the presence of Satan so strongly one night, he picked up his inkwell, threw it against the wall, and it broke, and the ink went down the wall. Whose ink is on your life? Satan's or the red crimson flow of Jesus' blood? Even me, I have to be careful. I'm interested. I want a woman in my life. I don't think it's good for me to be alone. I spend too much time looking at crap. And it's not just that. I agree with the short I made last night. God made us to be relational, not an island. We don't like that. We want to be independent. We want to DIY. We don't want anybody. We don't need anybody. Yeah, that's why our world's doing so well, right? But if the woman is not saved, not born again, does not know Jesus, then Michael cannot date her. Have I dated unbelievers? Yep. Is that disobeying God? Yep. You date a non-Christian, you're unequally yoked. What kind of music is she going to bring into your house? What culture? What beliefs? You better straighten that out before you even go that far. My video channel has attracted or caught the attention of quite a few good-looking women. I'm honored. But let me be honest with you. We men are easily led astray by a girl. Every time. Why do you think men are so weak in this country? Oh, Mike, we're not weak. We got our guns and pickup trucks. Oh, yeah, your guns and your trucks. Feminism is running circles around you clowns. You know why women like this woman right here? She's a symbol of in-your-face rebellion. Women like rebels. Listen to what they say. Nobody can tell me what to do. My husband get wrong with me, I'm going to get up in his face. Is that what this teaches? No. And if I allow a woman to worm her way into my heart and she's bringing into my heart, bringing into my house stuff I don't want to listen to and stuff that's compromising my faith and irritating my soul, that's not a helpmate. That's not from God. We let women control us. Remember, men, you're supposed to be the head of your house. You're supposed to set the spiritual tone and the spiritual tempo. And you need to do that before you date the woman. We don't. We deceive ourselves. Name not mention. Man dated a Jewish woman. He was into her. They lived together. She was an antagonist against Christianity. And things blew up. Two things come to mind. Number one, we're not supposed to live in sin with somebody. Number two, Bible says be not unequally yoked. And sometimes we marvel, man, why did that go wrong? You deliberately went against God's directives. If an auto manual tells you how to install a part in an engine, and you decide you're going to not use the tools and you're going to do it your way, you will eventually either ruin the vehicle or you'll come back to the book. And that's what the Supreme Court of America is doing. They want to reinterpret. They want to set themselves up as the authority. They've allowed gay abortion. Sheesh. They've allowed gay marriage and abortion. Gay abortion. Now that's, wow. I could say something, but I'll refrain. Gay abortion. And it's interesting that people want to do God's will in their own way, but not according to his word. Wasn't it King Asa that was told by God in the Old Testament, or Agag, kill everything, take no plunder? Was it Samuel? Somebody came up, said, what is this bleating of sheep that I hear? Well, I took the choice. Did not God tell you no? We do it. We play God. Shirley MacLaine stood on a beach in California in the 80s and said, I am God. Nope, you don't have sin and poop. Fake news. This is the dawning of the age of cannabis. Of cannabis. Of cannabis. I'm so high right now. No, it's the dawning of the age of Aquarius. You know what that's about? It ain't the dawning of the age of Genesis. That was New Age before New Age became vogue. New Age, old lie, we used to say. I remember in the early 2000s, there's a beautiful woman in Virginia, Minnesota, at the elementary school I worked at. And she gave me a tape she wanted me to listen to, and I said, what is this? She goes, it's called The Secret. So I listened to it. And it was more of that recycled Think and Grow Rich, Norman Vincent Peale. There's Christians that believe this. Don't say that, Michael. Your voice is prophetic. Or when you say something, it'll be. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Really? My words have power? They do. But I say, I want a deuce, completely restored, mint and running condition to appear in my yard. Boom! No, we don't have that kind of power. There's Christians that teach that. Remember the prayer of Jabez by David Wilkerson? That was a joke. He said in the book, why can't I have a Learjet in an island? Because maybe it's not God's will, bruh. We got a problem in the U.S. We think we're sovereign, and God says, I own you. We talk about when somebody's proud, oh, you got owned. If you are a Christian man or woman, you are owned. You were bought with a price. Who do you belong to? We need to analyze what we're doing. I do, you do, we all do. What are we listening to? What are we watching? What are we ascribing to? Who are we praising today? Women in Elton John. My sister, that's all she did was listen to him. Elton John is flaming gay. And he didn't say anything out there that I know of in his music. But guess what? That's how you make it palatable. Gays and lesbians overcompensate by doing these good works and caring and doing all these things so that when you get around them, well, I don't agree with their lifestyle, but they're really nice. And unfortunately, a lot of Christians act like nitwits and twits and twats. Then nobody wants to go to church. But everybody will slide in and slide on a record or a cassette or Elton John. Oh, I love this song. Rocket Man up my behind. Yeah, that's about it. The Queen of England liked Elton John. And then there's George Michaels and Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury immortalized himself in every football stadium around the U.S. Got blood on your face, you big disgrace. Kicking my can all over the place. Bohemian Rhapsody. Wonderfully done piece of music. Freddie Mercury and Elton John were gay when gay was not in vogue. I don't like Elton John's music. Never was into him. I did get snared by some, though. I got snared by Stevie Nicks. When you hear the sultry, the harp, fall down and worship. Rock music has been so powerful at being a Pied Piper that in the 80s and 90s, the church had a San Andreas earthquake ripped through the middle of it. The MTV generation came, the baby boomers. Why can't we have what's on the radio in our church? Because most of what's on the radio is without Christ. That's why. Baby boomers on up didn't want to hear the old hymns. They're too intellectual. They're too focused on God. They wanted feelings, nothing more than feelings. And now you got dress barn Christian women standing in church. They have no passion. How's Mr. Mike today? I'm good. How are you? I'm doing well. And they do this during the worship. Wow, this is gay. This is gay. Boring people clapping to crappy music. That the church in America should lead the world. Why is it Mendelssohn, Mozart, Tchaikovsky can do a better job than today's church? Why is it secular rock artists can have better music than the church? Scorpions, the winds of change. Follow the Moskwa down through Gorky Park. La la da the winds of change. We're emotional people. A lot of men don't know how to do it. The only emotion they seem to show is complete anger. Watch when they drive out there. You go to church and it's boring. The worship service is track music and it's 7-11 courses, same 7 words sung 11 times. You know, I'm a defiled man. My mind is not pure. I do not want to stand there and sing, "Come, just as you are to worship. Come, just as you are to give your praise." Is that what this teaches? And then you stand there and say, "Come, come." Wow. As a man, the imagery is not good. Who wrote that? It's crap. It's total theological crap. You do not come just as you are to worship. You come just as you are to get saved. When you come to worship, you got something against your brother or sister, go deal with it. Come into the church. Come into the church. I'm doing well. I've seen it. I've seen it all my days. I'm sitting in my truck before church outside, and somebody pulls up next to me and they don't see me sitting in it. And I hear yelling and I look over and I'm like, ooh, there has been a wife going at it in that car, verbally. And I'll slip out of my truck. I'm like, if they see me, they're going to freak out. They think they're all by themselves out there hashing it out. I go into church. I'll be in there before stuff starts and they'll come in. "Hey, Michael, how are you?" "I'm good. How are you?" "We're doing well." I want to go up and replay the video and say, "Are you? Or is that fake news?" Fake news isn't just CNN. It's most Christians on Sunday morning. Let's play make-believe. You know, I liked Mr. Rogers because he was sincere. I could get into Mr. Rogers' world easier than I can most churches. And you know what? Mr. Rogers is fascinating study because he never compromised his integrity. He loved his wife. He never cussed. He never talked inappropriate. He never had any scandal with children or women or people. People thought he was homosexual. He was not. He was probably the most well-adjusted man ever to be on television. And he told kids there's only one you. Most Christians are so jacked up. You don't want them in charge of kids. You don't want them in charge of anything because they're not in charge of their own selves. Is any of us praying for Stevie Nicks to get saved? Look at her face. Look at her eyes. That's not Motel 6 because the light ain't on. It's not on. And music has seduced us. It's emotional. Wait a minute, baby. When I told you about the fire, what fire? The video shows her walking up to a dead corpse. Yikes. You know, there was a time when witches and warlocks were scary. And just like that, Satan masquerades himself as an angel of light in the form of Stevie Nicks. And that's why so many women like her. They're attracted to the darkness like a moth is to light. Women are attracted to darkness, and it started in the garden. Paul said it. The woman was deceived first. Adam wasn't deceived. He obeyed his wife. Mistake. Mr. Head of the House. And we do it. I've done it. The woman I married 14 years was reading Joyce Meyer and defending people. I said, man, why are you listening to these people? Joyce Myers is not walking in the discernment of God. And I tell you, women will always try to usurp our authority and run the show. I notice a lot of women out there. Their life is one wreck after another. And they say, I don't need a man. Really? I thank God every day that He gives me the energy to get up and do what I need to do. And a lot of women today would not be a helpmeet to me. They would cost me more to clean up their messes, their debts. Then you got to deal with their emotional wreckage. And already, and thank you for this, people on YouTube, people, Mike, be careful. Be very careful. Don't do this again. The power of a pretty woman will overrule all of our common sense if we're not careful. A woman should only be in my life if she's a helpmeet sent by God. Not to boss me, not to control me, but to be a helper. To love me. I'm going to say this, and it's going to piss off women. To serve her husband, not herself. And in turn, I'm supposed to serve her, not myself. But women got it backwards. You look at any dating site, read what women are looking for on the dating site. You ever meet foolish people? They just had some bad stuff happen to them. Guy got his truck running at work. He comes up to me near the end of his shift. He goes, yeah, I got on plenty of fish. I said, Joe, do not date and stay away from the women. And he gave me this crap-eating grin. I said, are you seeing? Yeah, she was a nurse, and I said, you better not move her in your house. You've had 2 strikes on that. No, she got her own. Men that are so desperate to be in a relationship. I watched a guy in New England. He didn't like his obesity, and his wife didn't like that she ate nothing but junk food. Ivan was health conscious. Now I'm going to say something really bold here. If you got little children around, this is not made for children. He jumped into a marriage. He left that marriage. This is the wife who shoved him around. One day he shoved her back. She called the police on him. She'd been violent for years. He never called. And I tell men, if a wife ever shoves or hits you, turn her butt in. If they want equality, give it to her. Don't hit her. Don't push her. Call. When you got that stuff going on, the relationship is long ago ended. And women are becoming more violent and aggressive. And it's part of it's because of this crap. Our emotions. We hear it all the time. Women are emotionally driven logic. No, they're not logic. They're emotionally driven, period. Don't put the logic in there. Logic and emotion seldom line up. I'm a guy, and I'm very feelings oriented more than most men. Most men are dolts. They're stoics. I have to tell myself, your feelings need to be off the throne when you get in an automobile. You're going to see things that'll make you upset. I always tell myself, we talk about intel. I use that word, intel driven. When you drive, are you intelligently driven when you operate your motor vehicle? Do you follow the speed limit? You see somebody doing something, fine, it's okay to go, bump. Hey, you're about to hit me. You don't hold the horn down and chase them. Now you're going to break the speed limit. Now you're going to chase the person. Now you're going to follow them and get in their face. And then you're going to get a bullet in your brain, and that'll be the end of that. You cannot be emotionally driven in today's society. It'll get you killed. One woman told me that guy stomping around, I'd be up. I said, you're not going to be in his face. His culture doesn't value you. You get up in his face, he's going to kill you. We're living in that time. We got groups of people in this country, they don't give an F about our rights, our boundaries, our sleep. They don't care. They're lovers of their own selves. This woman here, she's a lover of own self. She murdered her baby. Fooled around with Don Henley. Don Henley's unwise. I bought his album when I was not saved because of the song Dirty Laundry. And he's got rolled blunts all over his kitchen table. You know, I was a kid in high school. I didn't have an ounce of discernment until I got saved. When I got COVID, the culture down here got on my nerves so much. And I withdrew into mine. I was sick. And I kept playing All of My Love Slowed and Reverbed, the Led Zeppelin piece. Dun, 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 dun. All of my love, all of my love, all of my love to you. He was singing that about the loss of his son. I was listening to Sarah by Stevie Nicks. When you go through cultures that are not compatible to yours, it makes me run back to the security of mine. But then I hear more and more about Stevie Nicks, and it's like, why are we letting her have an effect on us? I said, we talked about marijuana, and I said, be not drunk with wine, but be full of the Holy Spirit. Be not full of the world's music. Be full of the Holy Spirit. Maybe we need to apply that in many ways. When you drive your car, don't be full of adrenaline. Be full of the Holy Spirit. It's okay to get mad, but in your anger, do not sin. Road rage is getting people killed, folks. And some of you women, listen up. You're doing videos to show me. You got your hand on the steering wheel and your phone. You're trying to... Don't be doing that. Do not be operating your motor vehicle to text in the chat, to take videos. Drive your car. If you want to look at something, stop and pull over and run your video. Last thing I want to hear is somebody got killed because they're chatting while driving at 65 miles an hour or trying to take video. I am not that important that's worth risking your life for. Just like those spider webs. I couldn't believe all the stuff stuck in there. It was all around the head of the broom. It looked like a big old hoary-headed mop. Had to stop, put in the scissor lift. By the way, when you go up high, you got to feel the heat up there at the top of that warehouse. Ooh, baby. Hot. I'm dripping with sweat. Spider webs everywhere. I even knocked out a bird's nest. There was nobody in it. They slip into the open bay door and build nests all up in there. We get caught in the spider web of the world and secular society. Let's admit it. Fleetwood Mac had good music. Fleetwood Mac does not have a good heart. The God of this world has blinded her eyes. I've talked a lot about white women and their inability to dress properly. People criticize mine all the time. Look at that. I saw all the dress barn women on there saying, oh, I love her outfit. That thing that she's got hanging off her back is shredded, torn up fabric. And those kind of women have judged me all my life. My glass is this. Look at the way you're dressed. You got no right to talk about anything I'm doing. That looks like you went to the city dump. And women think that that's hot. That's throw up. Throw up. People get mad at me for that. Hey, I got a right to have a belief. Look at Stevie Nicks' eyes. They're not pretty. People that are deep into darkness are not pretty. There's a soullessness behind those eyes. We better pray for her. I'm 60. I don't know what her age is, but she's going to lose her faculties. She needs to be saved or she's going to the lake of fire. Only in America can people make evil look so beautiful. It's the spider web. I found wasps up in that spider webs. They got stuck. Couldn't fly out of that sticky mess. And the spider just waits until the wasp stops thumping around and goes up and does what a spider does. Eat. And that's what Stevie Nicks and everybody who's goaded by Satan does. Let's distract Christians. Let's get them seduced by good music. When you hear the sound, when all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all kinds of music, all the peoples, nations, and men of every language fell down and worshiped. Don't tell me that music and worship are not simultaneous. They are. And people say, I don't believe in God. I don't do that stuff. No, but you worship the devil and you worship the God of this world. You're so hooked on your band. You're so hooked on stuff. And look at when the Beatles came to America. All the teen girls screaming. Look at all the women shrieking when they hear somebody ripping out the first chords on a guitar at a metal concert. It's like, wow, you really have turned this guy into an idol. And those same women go to church and they just sit there like a bump on a log, swooshing their hair and looking at their phone. Yeah, God doesn't move you. Church doesn't move you. Oh, but Stevie Nicks, Stevie Nicks, she's a beautiful woman. Oh. No, she isn't. She's lost. A lot of women in our culture dress horribly. That's another reason I do what I do. It's funny to watch men and women criticize what I'm doing. Have you looked at why you're all dressing? You really think that that's okay? And yes, I said it, dress barn clothing, ridiculous looking. Dress barn is the only store I know that can take a dang 1960s floral drape off the living room window and wrap it around a woman's butt and get away with it and call it a dress. Wow. It's funny how when I was in school, some of the women I was with at Mammoth were ucky. There was a girl named Kim Ickes, Ickes, Ickes. She wasn't nice to me. She wasn't pretty. She was in 4-H. And I was a kid going, gosh, these women are so awful. And it's amazing how much power they have as a group. How they lack self-awareness about the rest of male society and don't care. I'm in a warehouse yesterday, and I guess we changed employment agencies because the one that we're pulling from is sending drug addicts and felons and God knows what. I'm glad the company finally stepped up. You see the white woman in her, and the spacky with her, with the little button-up shirt and his little clipboard, and I come rumbling down the aisle with this heavy steel cart, and they're both suddenly getting intimidated, and I'm thinking, well, move the heck out of the way, business goes on. No, I wasn't rude, but it's like, sometimes a lot of women out there are clueless about the rest of the world and how it all runs. And music has become a god in our life. Music can be good, but ask yourself, is this stuff causing us to compromise? Have our emotions frog in a kettle us where we've lost our edge? I think it has. What would you do if you were confined out in the wilderness and you had no electronics, nothing, for 1 year? How would you get through that? We're so affected by our culture. I am. I'm at an age where I do not want to make major mistakes anymore. When you're 20s, yeah, you can make a mistake and you can still rebuild, but at 60, Some mistakes could cost you everything. You have to mature. If you don't, life will throw out some harsh consequences that'll leave you in a state of problems. And I look at a lot of women, their lives are falling apart. And they blame everything on a man. Some of them did have bad men, but if the Bible is always proved out, you got women trying to be men, men trying to be girls. Everybody wants to play toddlers. Let's do opposites. Dad says yes, toddler says no. And you have gay couples want to adopt children. Why do you want children? What in the world do you want kids for? So you can jack them up just like you? That's crazy. God instituted marriage. I told a lady I am interested in. I was talking to her. I said, I disagree with what a lot of people say, even Christians. Oh, relationships, hard work. Look, I got to go to a job every day and work hard. If I got to work hard at a relationship, then it ain't for me. Because I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I don't want to work as hard at my job at a relationship. A relationship should be a blessing. Yes, the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man another. But if I got to work so hard at dealing with a woman who's not a fit for me, bringing her music, her culture to slam it in my house, and maybe we better not do this at all. Michael, you need a cat. Michael, you need... No, I don't. My house, house rules. And women need to understand that. It's not that I'm the boss, but women are not going to bring their culture in here and lead my heart after other stuff. Not going to have it. It's not going to be. No more. I allowed that to happen to my own detriment too many times. I think today, in Christian circles, the effects of feminism have crept into the church. We've allowed women to manipulate us with psychobabble. Well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to come to you and say, could you please turn that crappy music off because it really offends me? I'm going to say, I don't want to hear that in my house. But you avoid the whole thing and find out what they are before you bring it that far. And you tell them, I just need you to know we're not playing that stuff in my house. You're not bringing your dirty little smoking pot and liquor habits in my house. You want to date me, you need to be a Christian. You need to recognize I'm the head of my house. You're not the boss. You're not going to be bossy by it. You don't like my clothing. You don't like my hair. You don't like my management. Don't get involved. But women like to change us. Beware of women who have an agenda. I don't have an agenda on a woman. I really don't. I realize it's not good for me to be alone, but yet it has been because it forced me to become a man and learn to do things myself instead of being a crybaby and a wussy. And a woman needs a man to be that way. Oh, my husband's been through a lot. When something happens, he knows what to do. We have to be alone. The Apostle Paul, when he had the Damascus Road experience, he didn't go and hang out with all the other Christian fishes. God took him in the wilderness for 3 years to get alone with God. And I have more resolve now. I don't care how pretty you are. If I sense or detect a usurping an agenda, I'm going to say, no. That is the job of a man. Women say, oh, this is ridiculous. Mike's misogynistic. No, I'm not. But I don't believe that my headship needs to be negotiated with a woman that's under my headship. To rebel or reject my headship is to have a spirit of Jezebel, because I'm not interested in controlling my woman. But if you're going to bring all your crap into my world, I don't want that in here. Go find somebody who's into all that crap. You know, people get mad at me when I talk about the marijuana. Go ahead, smoke it. But don't come on to me, because we ain't going to go even on the first date knowing that you do. No, we're not even going to open that door. You can come up to my screen door. We can talk. But you're not coming in here with all that pot. If you want to be obese, you don't want to shave your armpits, go ahead. Don't show an interest in me. I'm going to say you need a razor and you need to lose weight. Now we're seeing a very sobering thing take place here. I worked at transportation. All these women are getting gastrointestinal bypass. Basically, they cut off one of your intestines. I don't know what they do. Sew something up. They lose weight rapidly. Then they got lunch lady arms, chicken wings, turkey wings. And that never comes back. And it looks really gross. If they wear a short sleeve shirt, it's like, oh my gosh. To me, it makes me want to vomit. I don't want to see that with no clothes on. All this hanging skin. I'm glad you lost the weight, but there's consequences, honey bunches of oats. You're not sexy no more. You better not even play that string. You better focus on God and just give up the sexual thing. Or find a man who likes dating Gila monsters with all this hanging skin off of them. People get mad when I say it like that. I was bullied and teased all my life, and I'm not bullying these people. You chose to be a piglet all your life. Now you found an easy answer to lose weight with no discipline on your part. Have the doctor sew up something. You didn't want to be disciplined. So now you lost the weight, but your skin has been stretched beyond capacity and it will never regain its supple vitality again. The skin is stretched out, spent, broken. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Because a lot of Christian women talk about men and lust, men and pornography, and everything else. And the church is silent in America about gluttony. They ought to do a pig sound version of Green Acres. Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Gluttony is where I'd rather be. Honey, are we going to Golden Corral? Yep. Have you ever been there? Go look around. Very rare to see people in there slender like me. I remember I went to a Golden Corral in Westminster, Colorado with some people that I was friends with. The kids were running all loose through the place. They had that chocolate fountain. They're sticking their fingers in it and everything else. I'm like, that is just gross. And one kid came flying out of the bathroom, come over to my table. Somebody pooped on the bathroom floor. I said, really? I said, I'm sure it was one of you guys. You guys are acting like a bunch of banditos in here. And I forgot about it. And we were sitting there eating. I went to go use the bathroom. And sure enough, poop on the floor. Golden Corral, man. Kids are sticking their hands in the chocolate fountain, pooping on the floor. And then they wonder why people aren't getting sick. The chocolate fountain is not a good idea with children. Yuck. It's just gross. Absolutely disgusting. Life is never dull, is it? I didn't realize the depth that Stevie Nicks was into paganism. I had a young lady years ago when I got saved. She said, your countenance is different. I said, huh? I was in high school. I didn't even know what the word countenance meant. Your eyes, your face is softer. I'm like, it is? Now, years later, I understand that. You can tell when somebody's not saved. You can look them in the eye and you can just see it. Satan uses a lot of women to water us men down. Don't believe me? Look at American society. Look at all the soy boys. Soy boys are the result of domineering women. Being a soy boy is not a good thing. You got women acting more male today than feminine. I need to work on my language because it's atrocious. And there's no excuse for it. Women cuss. Trump cusses. Politicians cuss. Rashida Tlaib is as vile as they get. And as a child of God, we need to be marked with different speech. We're proud of our hard-jadedness, aren't we? The Bible says that God would give us a heart of flesh. He'd take our heart of stone. That's why the unbelievers are stony hearts. They're cold, they're indifferent. Nate gets a new apartment and the guy next door, I don't give an F. That's a godless clown over there. Doesn't believe in the golden rule. Doing to others, he don't care. People want to play their rap crap. I want to play Rush Limbaugh on a bullhorn. You think they get triggered? There's a lesbian woman. She attends a metrosexual church, and she said the Bible triggers people. Oh, then why do you have church? People, they want to play church, but they don't like this, and they want to ignore the parts that talk about same sexuality. We got watered down by Elton John, George Michael, Freddie Mercury. We did. Stevie Nicks makes the occult look palatable. Remember Blue Oyster Cult? Don't fear the Reaper. That's demonic stuff. It is. I don't listen to that. There's some music I've jettisoned. I remember as a kid, my sweet Lord, hallelujah, Hare Krishna, I really want to know you, Hare Krishna. People said, Mike, it's not in there. Want to bet? Read George Harrison's talk on the song. I got Christians singing Hare Krishna. I think it's fun. He loves that. I got a friend, a regular on my channel, who's trying to tell me the attribute. I said, I'm not going to listen to this. I was respectful. I said, I'm not going to listen to this. Hare Krishna is a false religion. But I said, no, I'm not going to entertain this discussion. You either believe this or you don't. You can't ride the fence and have a little dab of this and a dab of that. You got Christians out there that say, well, you know, there's many roads. The world says that too. No, there's not many roads. There's two. One's pointed to hell. One's pointed to eternal life. Which road are you on? If you have any doubt about musicians, look at their lifestyles. Smoke a little pot, shoot a little crack, get down tonight. Music is the Pied Piper. Leads our emotions astray. Do we listen to the lyrics? I do think that a lot of the music I like is better than most of what's ever going to be today. The Wreck of the M.F. Fitzgerald is a factual ballad of a factual shipwreck. And he asked an honest question. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? We as Christians ask that sometimes, don't we? But I don't need to listen to the song Cocaine. Why are the Doobie Brothers called the Doobie Brothers? Gee, I don't know. I don't think their last name was Doobie. Or was that Dubois? What about country western? Not my cup of tea. Country western song got to have a horse, another girl to screw around with, and a twat, and a gun, and a beer. You got those? You got a country song. Country music isn't complex enough for me. It's banal. It's primitive. I can't stand it. Most country western people I meet are one-dimensional. The hat, the boots, the twat. That's it. You're not going to have deep discussions with that. You're not going to go into the heavens and the stratosphere with God with that. Rap music, straight out of the sewer, straight out of the hood. That stuff is a highway to hell. They complained about heavy metal when I was in high school. Some of the heavy metal today is way better than that stuff they're calling rap. In My Dreams didn't have the F word or the N word by Dawkins. I mean, you stop and look at how we've slid. Heavy metal, oh my gosh, the older people were freaking out. Oh, that's Satan worship. It really wasn't. It was and it wasn't. I think a lot of those boys use shock culture to get all the kids into it because, down with the devil, which is wrong. Ozzy Osbourne, people want to praise him. Why? Oh, he was a good family man. Ozzy Osbourne was a godless fool. Bit the head of a bat off, got rabies, had to get a shot. Not the brightest duck in the pond. Supposedly he got saved. Praise God if he did. I hope so. Because you can't make a decision for Jesus now. I don't think I need to bother to unpack Cardi B's song WAP. There's not anything biblical or God glorifying in her song WAP. That goes for Nicki Minaj. And that whole culture, that whole ethnic, has their disregard and hatred for Trump. Nicki Minaj recently throwing her hat in behind him on the transitional issues. A little bit of hypocrisy in Nicki Minaj. Her music is crap. And she's getting on her high horse. J.K. Rowling's getting on her high horse. J.K. Rowling, you're promoting Satanism and the occult. And man, you got people on my channel saying she was a great author. She's promoting Satan and the occult. Now back to the classical piece that was in 2010. And the version on Teen Titans. Oh my gosh, that still makes me laugh. I read the composer that composed that said something overtook me. My hand was writing the notes, but I wasn't moving it. That wasn't God. This guy didn't fear God. There's music without lyrics. It can be satanically orchestrated. When you hear the sackbut, the psaltery, and the harp, and the lyre, and the tambourine, fall down and worship. Look at women. Look at how they just spiderweb all over the place. You're in the car having a conversation. The radio's on. Oh, turn this up. Oh, I love this song. Oh, la, 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 la. I was trying to tell you something. I know, but this is... You're a flutie. You are a flutie. Woo! People get mad when I say that. The difference between men and women is downright irritating and nasty. Now I'm going to say something else. Are you listening up, ladies? I understand we all got our problems. I understand we all got our struggles and our problems. But you got women on here, they'll go 2 weeks, 24, 48 hours, a weeks, months. No text back, no response. I'm sorry, I tend to isolate. If you want to have a relationship with me and you tend to isolate, then isolate yourself away from me right now and do it. That is cool. Don't butter me up and fluff me and tell me this and that and then poof, nothing. Do you hear me, men? Stop being reeled in like a fish. Set the tone. I'm not going to tell her what she needs to do. I'm just going to say, I cannot live with that. So if you're going to be that way, bye-bye. I'm going to pull up anchor. I'm going to untie the lines at that dock, and you're going to hear a loud, the propellers kick up, and you can see my wake and the seagulls following the stern of the ship out of the harbor, hoping for some toilet dump or something. You like that? Isn't that fun? You cannot do that in a relationship, women. I see women use more things as an excuse than more men. I believe a lot of men tend to be more reasonable than women. Well, I'm sorry. I've got PTSD and I got issues too. Good morning, Michael. How are you? I'm all right. You okay? How do you expect to have a relationship when you go on ice for 3 weeks or 2 days? You know what that makes me believe? Somebody else has got your attention and I'm not it. Life is interesting. How about the Beach Boys? They're innocent, right? I'm thinking of good vibrations. How about John Denver? Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Listen to the words. I was born again on the 27th summer. Did John Denver get saved? No. John Denver was into TM. The Beach Boys were into TM. Good vibrations. You know what transcendental meditation did back in the 60s, 70s? Yeah. They were into that. Were they just pushing music? Surfboards and a 409? Come on, baby, surfing safari. Do you remember a note in there means, woo, I'm thinking of good vibrations. Woo, yeah. You know, back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of cults would bring you into a room and they'd have images on a screen that would start spinning and it would look like your mind on drugs. And they had music and people started seeing stuff. A form of sorceries. And most people living today have no clue about that. Music is not neutral, folks. What's the spirit behind it? Baltimore came up with a great song recently, years ago. My neck, my back, my woo, and my crack. Isn't that good music? Lick it good. You think that those girls in that video would make you a good wife? They'd probably punch you in the face if they got mad at you. What are you listening to, man? Why are you defending it? We have become the frog in the kettle. We laugh at it. We think it's, oh my gosh, that song's so potty. It's not funny. God's not up there going, that's funny. God's disgusted with our filth. Get rid of the filth and the moral, the immoral filth that is so prevalent among you. The Bible says so prevalent. It's in us, folks. The least you can do is turn that song off on the radio that's garbage. Stop listening to Elton John. He made gay more palatable. So did Freddie Mercury. So did all of them. Oh, but he had good music. No, rub your stuff to it. That's all it is. How about Boy George? Chameleon. Gay golden dreams. Gay golden dreams. Loving would be easy if your colors were like my dreams. What the heck is he saying there? Loving would be easy if your colors were like my dreams. What colors? White sticky stuff? Yeah, who knows? You know, we're stupid. You listen to some music and it's like, what are they saying in here? Wow. I posted Thursday night, September 26th, on my Facebook. This. Well, they say that Helene's going to hit us. Probably a little wind and rain. So I put this song on tonight, Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. I woke up 2 o'clock Friday morning the 27th. So, wow, it's not doing anything out there. It's calm. And I was going to start to put, well, they gave us the day off yesterday and looks like another wasted day off school. Nothing's happening. And the lights flickered on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, off. What the heck? There's no wind. Came on, I logged out of Facebook when everything rebooted. Said, I better get off of here. Looked out the living room window. Nothing's happening. Within a half an hour, I looked out the living room window and you saw the lightning. And you saw the wind. And you saw the trees. I stepped outside and this is what I heard. Shh. Not. The rain was blowing horizontal on the street like snow. I knocked on my roommate's door and said, I need your car keys. I need to move the car and the truck into the backyard. We have a hurricane. And my little joke about Rock You Like a Hurricane, it did. It was the worst disaster in the state of Georgia's history. This state became a state in 1776. It's as old as America. I've talked about it, and I won't beat the dead horse, but that hurricane had a huge effect on me. $106-mile-an-hour winds at the house. Some of these old trees were no match for that. Plus, the day before, with 12 inches of rain that soaked everything so deep, the dirt around the trunks became soft, and that tree just couldn't take it. I remember hearing the oak on the side of my house. Tina and I were looking out the living room window, and we heard this loud crack. I mean, it was loud. The windows were not open. And there's rooms between me and that. And we heard right in front of the living room window, all I see are limbs, the whole top of the tree. I'm like, great. The one oak that the tree service said was good just blew over. And I remember saying, oh, blank, I hope it didn't hit the porch roof. I went out the front door and I couldn't see. The tree blocked my way of the house, the street, everything. I saw the electrical line laying in water deep in the driveway. Thought, well, I'm glad the power's out. That's going to be an ugly day. Now I got power lines all over, water everywhere. Better hope this electricity doesn't come on. It looked like it had missed the house, but I wasn't able to tell until first light and the storm abated and I got out. It missed the roof by inches. One of the stub limbs broken off limb went and impaled itself, a hole that big, just the tree came down and my point in this, we're allowing some of that music to rock our soul like a hurricane, and it's doing damage. I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. What sign? What opened up your mind? Was it the Word of God? Was it a feeling? We're emotional. God made us to be that way, but we have to allow fact to take precedence over feelings. Women were made to be opposite of us, and men were made to be opposite of women to bring a leveling out, a balance. More often than not, that's not the case. You have emotionally driven thinking over here, and you have concrete, stoic, cold, unfeeling, uncaring over here. And they're two horns, two Dodge Rams, butting their heads. Notice I said Dodge, not goats, not Rams. I think it's funny when you call it a Dodge Ram. Yeah, ram that Dodge into another Dodge and watch what happens. Might want to change the name of that. That Ram is tougher than that truck. That Ram can go up the ramparts and that truck never can. Wrong name. That's little boy syndrome. I have a Ford Raptor. Are you in first grade? You still playing with plastic dinosaurs? I remember the biggest mining dump truck in the globe when I was a kid was called the Terex. Now that was impressive. One wheel goes over a Ford Raptor. That Ford Raptor's done. You know, kind of like this. That's what your Ford Raptor would look like after that giant yellow Tonka went over it. So it looks like the Raptor lost. That's why I like the Deuce. All these people arguing over Chevy, Ford, and Dodge with their little Calvin peeing on everything. What's going to be awesome is when God shows up and no truck, no skyscraper, no man-made invention is going to have any rank anymore. People in the tribulation will be crawling, begging the mountains and the rocks to fall on them and hide them from him who sits on the throne. I want to meet that God, and I will. I want to thank my viewers, those that encourage me and pray for me. Thank you. The music. What are we listening to? What are we dancing to? And that lady that said, well, Michael, everything we do could be sin. Yeah, you're right. But if we know something, we need to acknowledge it. We need to say, God, I didn't realize this, and help me to unwrap my fingers from this. When there's an emotional tie to something, it's really hard to break it. I burned all my albums, U2, The Police, Duran Duran, at the forcing of a Christian man who believed all rock music was of the devil. He believed that anything that had a beat was an African drum beat and was satanic. Oh, so I can listen to an Asian drum beat, a Caucasian drum beat, and a South American drum beat, and that's fine. I wonder what an Antarctic drum beat sounds like. Oh, they don't have a people group down there. They just got a bunch of scientists. Oh, wait. They're Thomas Dolbyites. Poetry in motion, ba-bump, bump. Now she's making love to me. Meow, meow, meow. She blinded me with science. Science. Meow, 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 meow. Science. That's right. Antarctica's national anthem would be Science by Thomas Dolby. And Russia, na 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 na. And then you can go to Korea, Gangnam Style. In America, listen to the sound of a toilet flush. What's happening? You know what the definition of history is? His story. And we got to be smart enough, Christian, to see that we're circling the drain. How many songs have been sang by successful musicians and artists? Ain't no woman like the one I got. How many women did he have in his life? Before, during, and after he wrote that song. How about Steve Perry? Send her my love. Memories remain. How many women? How many memories? One song I cannot stand. It sounds like hoedown hokey barnyard music. Come on, Eileen. Oh, I swear I'll be clean. What does that mean? How about Come On, Feel the Noise, Girls Rock the Boys? What was that about? What was the difference between Motley Crue and Barry Manilow? 30 seconds. Barry Manilow sung about having sex in a hotel room, and Motley Crue talked about 30 seconds down the hall in the elevator. I know a woman who told me she had sex in an elevator. I'm like, really? They went into the top where the engine is to hoist it, and they did it in there. I said, good grief. The Titanic movie. Modern America had to desecrate that. Jack and Rose getting it on in the Renault down in the forward hold. You know, that never would have been allowed. There's crew all over that ship. They would not have been able to sneak down in there and do that. You didn't do that back then. I'm sorry. Jack and Rose, Kate Winslet, forgot his name. They were overrated. He was an immigrant ruffian. He never would have been invited to first class. And then he's teaching her how to hawk up a loogie, and all the women like that. You want that kind of a woman? Most men are turning their women into men. You want a woman to go, I don't. That's gross. Then the Titanic, still, lives are lost over it. Let's go down in a pop can. Let's have a PlayStation control stick. Let's pay $250,000. The son of one of them said, I don't want to do this. Father coerced him and begged him to come. A Coast Guard vessel picked up a sound on their sonar. That's it. These guys were millionaires. They were making good money, and they would spend big money to see a wreck. And their life ended. That's it. Do you not realize, everybody listening to me, your life could go. That's it. Boom, done. We better. The Bible says God has set eternity in the hearts of men. And we trifle with temporal. We trifle with it over and over again. Even me. I said, I'm not getting in that stupid Titan sub. I would have felt comfortable with Robert Ballard and his crew because they knew what they were doing. The arrogance of man continues to kill man. And that guy's last words, grinning and everything. Yep, it's controlled by a joystick. Yeah, you lost your life holding that joystick. Talk about an interesting way to die. How fast is that? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. The greed of man. The arrogance of man. But did we look at the people that spent $250,000? We got endless pictures of the shipwreck down there. Why would I pay $250,000 even if I was a billionaire to go down there? What a waste of money. To pay to go see a rusted, sunken ship. Just to say I was there. All these clowns trying to summit Everest. That's lots of money too. Dead bodies littering the Himalayas. People walking by dead just to bag another ego trip. Stupid. I think a lot of these people need to try something that nobody's ever tried before. Take their bottom lip, pull it up over their head, and swallow. And do the world a favor. Because you're an idiot. Even a father's son had reservation about getting on that thing. Dad, you should have listened to your son's fear. He was trying to tell you something. That's sad. I feel bad for the son. So they spent $500,000. $500,000 just to go down in a pop can. What happens to the body when an implosion like that happens? Did they find any body remains? We don't know. $1,503 people died in the sinking of the Titanic, and then however many more were on that pop can. That was dumb. I wrote a poem on Facebook one night that women asked if they could borrow it. They thought it was beautiful. If you look at the bow of the ship, the rust is hanging off. They called it, Robert Ballard called it rusticles. They're iron ore eating bacteria, if you can believe there's such a thing. Do you know you have eye mites that are climbing around on your eyeballs, eyelids, and they're eating stuff? You know why you have BO? Because when you sweat, the bacteria goes, ooh, sweat. And as it's feasting on it, it gets funky. That's why you can't mix certain cultures with cultures, because it gets funky. Do you hear what I'm saying? We got that problem in the U.S. Some cultures don't assimilate to our way of life and never will. And instead you get BO and problems. I'm not promoting racism. God said not to intermarry in the Old Testament. I don't believe that there's a prohibition for interracial relationships. But I am going to tell you that when we have a country that was built on this premise and we let a completely contrary culture move in, I mean, you've got Nate. That's mostly a Caucasian culture. And you got one idiot African-American going to be rude in an apartment building, stomp and make noise, and he comes out politely saying, hey, could you keep it down? I'm trying to sleep. I don't give an F. It's amazing how ballsy one black man can be in a culture that he's the minority. We don't need that kind of culture anywhere. Conversely, if I was in Africa, I'm not going to be rude to the culture that I'm visiting or in the midst of. We live in a jacked up world. A very jacked up world, and people jumping on me for telling the facts. If you don't like truth, don't listen to my channel. Just because you're a certain ethnicity doesn't mean you and you only get the stage. We've heard it over and over, and all it is now is wah, 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 wah. That's all it is. There is no systemic racism in America from whites to blacks. That is a lie. There is not systemic racism in the police force in America. That is a lie. There's pattern recognition. When you're told to put your hands in the air and you refuse, and you push the accelerator pedal, and then you fumble around like you're grabbing a gun and you wonder why you get shot, it had nothing to do with racism. It had to do with one simple thing: obedience. Do what you're told. And I've never seen a culture. I see it out here. I've told people, stop speeding through the pumps when I was at transportation. A woman was parking her bus in the wrong spot. The foreman said, you see a bus, move it back to a spot. We got a black woman down there parking, blocking other people's bus spot. I'd get in it early in the morning before she got there and move it. I did it a couple times, then she locked the front door. And I thought, you're so stupid. I opened the emergency door, hopped up, got in, started it, moved it. I was taking a bus to pressure wash the mold off the roof. She stands in my way. I open the door. Yes, ma'am. Don't move my bus. I said, well, you need to talk to the foreman. He told me, man, you work at the pumps. You don't have any control over this. I said, I'm under the control of my foreman. He is my boss. I do what he tells me. Boy, you better not move my bus. I said, if I see it in the wrong spot, I will move it. Take the key out, lock the door. I will get in that bus. I'll get another key. Go talk to the foreman. Then she tried to intimidate me, and I shut the door and I drove off. And I told management. She went out to start her bus, and the bus wouldn't start. Had nothing to do with me. It was giving her problems. She ended up not being able to drive it for 3 weeks, and it was stuck there. And I said, well, you secured your parking spot for 3 weeks. Now you got to drive another bus. Ha! And this is what I see in this culture. They're going to go like this to anybody that is not their color that has a rule. Who's the racist? Who's the problem? And that's what I want to ask. I'm tired of this one-sided, lopsided conversation. 2020, we had a grown idiot had a history of breaking laws, held up a pregnant woman with a gun to her belly, went to prison for that. And then we got a gay media saying, oh, his daughters have been deprived of their father. Father. Oh, let's play the father. We are family. The media is anything but family, promoting gay marriage and abortion. Now they're going to work the tear-jerking department in the crowd. These two girls are without a father. Oh, now you care about a father. A lawless clown using counterfeit money in Minneapolis to buy some, and the clerk said, you put it down, we're good. And as is the case with a lot of these people, I'm not going to follow your rules. George Floyd did not die at the knee of Officer Chauvin. That man was framed, and I pray that God's thunder would come down and deal with that whole mess. The Minneapolis City Council, the mayor, clowns. George Floyd died. He was overdosed on fentanyl. If he never tangled with the police that day, he was going to die and meet his maker. Too bad it couldn't have happened that way. We would have never heard about him. Nobody would have even known he died out there in the media. The media needed a scapegoat to get people from looking at Anthony Fauci. Fauci's another crook, using children as human experiments in Puerto Rico and Costa Rica. Puerto Rico and Costa Rica. Wow, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica. Yeah, let's get the feminine and the masculine straight, Michael. I know what's going on with our media. It's a joke. You go to journalistic school to go, I can read a script to the, follow the teleprompter, la, 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 la. Now, Marty's going to tell us about the weather. What's going on, Marty? Well, we're going to get a little precipitation and moisture. I got gel in my hair, Jan. Oh, that looks really good. Yeah. You like my little peekaboo shoulder outfit I got from Dressmart? Oh, that looks really great. The media sucks. And you believe CNN's telling you the truth. Cue in the Snoopy laugh. I have a dream that a certain ethnic group in America will stop blaming everybody for their problems and take accountability for theirs. One of their own said 75% of their problems are caused by their own making. Morgan Freeman, unquote. It's not going to happen. The Democratic Party doesn't want it to happen. That's how they get votes. So that Nancy Pelosi can rob the cookie jar again and again and again and again and again and again. How the Democrats get rich? Bootlegging, the mafia, drugs, pedophilia, keeping a certain ethnicity down and in the projects and getting their votes so they can grab more balls of money. The Democratic Party is not about democracy. It's not about freedom. It's about tyranny and control and taking away your money and your freedom and giving it all to them. The Democratic Party with Rashida Tlaib and Crazio and all these others, I mean, this is insane. These clowns like socialism and communism. Move to China. We don't want China in the U.S. Leave. Take your garbage ideology and go where it already exists and write me a letter and tell me how wonderful. Send me that postcard saying, wish you were here. Notice every Democrat on Capitol Hill is filthy freaking rich. That's not communism. That's runaway, greedy, extortionist capitalism. Getting sweetheart deals and kickbacks. People don't like it when I talk about the Democratic Party. Too bad. Click off the channel and go to the Democrat room down the hall. Listen to their tripe all day. Democrats are a bunch of bootlickers. Sniffing bicycle seats and girls' hair. Joe Biden's got his hands right here on a young lady leaning down and smelling her hair on national TV. Not one Democrat howled about how inappropriate that was. What is your hands doing right here? She didn't even have any, by the way, but what is your hands doing right here? And then bragging that he and his 12-year-old shower in the... Your 12-year-old is in the shower with you, Dad? What the heck was going on in that shower? That's when you want to see him drop the soap and have a man come in there and kick him square in the you-know-what. If I had a 12-year-old daughter, she don't belong in a shower with a grown man. Stupid. But guess what? The Democrat Party's a cult. Brainwashed, manipulated, godless. They reject this, and they drink Kool-Aid all day long. And they get paid to drink that Kool-Aid. Go to college, major in liberal arts, be an activist Democrat, you can be highly successful. Be a gay person, write some music, you can become a millionaire and you can change the world. Like a candle in the rain. And you can get contracts to sing Lion King. You can be the voiceover for Dory, the silly, arrogant, or the silly, airheaded fishy. It pays to be gay. It pays to be godless. It pays to be Democrat. It pays to be a drug dealer. It pays to be corrupt. It pays to be unethical. But God is coming back. And he's going to judge all these clowns and fools. Justice delayed is not justice denied. Al Sharpton. What a clown. Jesse Jackson. I guarantee you he's not in the presence of the Holy One. Jesse Jackson was not a minister of the gospel. He's a minister of Satan and his unrighteousness. He's a race-baiting rabble-rouser. I don't believe that man had any fruit in keeping with repentance. Zero. And everybody's saying, trying to give eulogies. There is no eulogy to give a foolish man. Honor is not fitting for a fool. Go ahead. Call me racist. That's the only thing that you can do is weaponize a word. You cannot stand on fact. And he cheated the taxes. Mr. Democrat, Mr., standing up for all the violations of his people, robbing the government. What a great guy. We talk about Martin Luther King, cheated on Loretta, cheated on Loretta, cheated on Loretta, cheated on Loretta, cheated on Loretta. I have a dream that everybody will ignore my sexual sins against my wife. Yeah, let's talk about these people that we erect to be heroes, elect to be our leaders. Clowns, pedophiles, child molesters, drug dealers, drug supporters, Philip Morris getting backdoor pockets to be quiet about smoking. The Kennedys made their millions and billions off bootlegging. Ted Kennedy was a drunk, elected over and 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 change that record. And he murdered that woman, Chappaquiddick. Oh, wait a minute. All the women on the Democrat left, it's all about women's rights. It's all about, what about that woman? How come all the women today are totally silent about Ted Kennedy? Anybody on my channel that wants to defend the Democratic Party, I will tell you to your face, you are not walking in this. The Holy Spirit is absent from your life if you think the Democratic Party is of God. I do not believe that you can be a Christian and vote Democrat and be walking in the Holy Ghost. I don't believe that. I never will believe that. I told that to the late Gene Barber in Duluth. He said, Michael, I totally agree with you. Democratic Party is a cesspool of iniquity. Bible talks about in the Old Testament, there were certain locales where the word was used referring to the seat of Satan. You know where the seat of Satan is in the United States? That rotunda with all them liars in there. Liars and cheaters, pushing socialism, but filthy rich. Let me say it again. If you are a socialist, you are not allowed to be rich. By definition, you cannot be a capitalist. You really believe in socialism? Then share the wealth, clowns. They don't and they won't. They're up there on the hill and they don't want you on it with them. I don't care what any Democrat says. They're fools all. They have destroyed this country. They're godless. They've murdered more people than Adolf Hitler ever did. And they want to call Trump Adolf. Laughable. Abortion is not about choice. Abortion is about the lies of the devil. You do not have the right to determine whose life is worth living. You don't want to get pregnant? Don't go to the bar and get drunk, dumb. Well, what about the teenager that was raped? How many abortions are raped teenagers? One? Out of 61 million? Woo! Better get your pie chart out again. Better check those factoids. Stupid. You can't win with a cult. This godless music I talk about is not Christianity or conservatives' best friend. They all espouse leftist paganism, leftist godlessness, leftist open sexuality. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Y'all talk about the way I dress. Are you as vocal about Cardi B? Are you as vocal about Nancy Pelosi? Are you as vocal as AOC? Are you as vocal about Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and her Muslim seat as you are about me? We need to talk the truth in this country because nothing's changing. 4 years of this clown, 4 years of that clown, 4 years of this clown, 8 years of that clown, this clown, everywhere a clown. And I've got a bid. United States for $1. Anybody want to buy the United States for $1? How about $2? How about $200 million? China, you want to buy some farmland? Come on, sell it out. There you go, $200 million. You can own half the state of Oklahoma. Ted Turner bought half of Montana. That's right, folks. Sell out, sell out, sell out. Do we got a bid for selling out Washington? Let's get some Muslims in there. Let's get somebody from Puerto Rico. Let's get everybody in there that hates Americans, hates whites, hates our Constitution. That's right, folks. Sell out. Hurry up. Sell out. And sold to all the illegals, to all the gays, to all the godless, to all the trans. By the way, they're shooting up the schools. Yep. Great. Just great. The SS United States will be sunk. What a sad story. It couldn't be a ship because to retro it, it's old. It's not like today's cruise ships. They could have made a floating, they could have done a bunch of things to it. The cost and the steel, ship structurally is solid. The money they're spending to clean it out to sink is ridiculous. A waste. Oh, but it'll make a coral reef. How many years will that take? That ship's been exposed to salt air. Once you drop that into salt water, it's gonna go, baby. Man trying to save the planet. Hey, clowns on the left. Have you read the book of Revelation? God's not coming down to Whole Foods Co-op with his recycled bag to buy groceries in the tribulation. He's not going to recycle the planet. The seas are going to turn to blood. The water sources are going to turn to blood. Earthquake's going to knock every city in the world down. I don't think God's interested in recycling the planet. And you all that call it Mother Earth. Christian women, stop calling this Mother Earth. That is an affront to a holy God. Earth is not a mama. Not a mama! It is Earth, created by the Father. Get your terminology straight and get rid of that word ginormous. It's either gigantic and it's enormous. We don't put the two together. I'm so tired of that. Certified pre-owned. Used car. No, it's a pre-owned. It's used. It's choice. It's murder. Keep your laws on my body. Keep your murder off that child. I'm an advocate for defenseless children. Shut your mouth, woman. I'm an advocate for defenseless children. You talk about choice. Did that kid in your belly make that choice, or did you? Shut your mouth, you murderous, self-centered, evil, sinful woman that is shaking your fist at an almighty God. Abortion is a sin. Don't want a child? Close the door. Right here. Stop saying open 24 hours, eat at Pamela's. All you can eat buffet. Don't like what I say? You can shut me down. You can shut me down on YouTube, but guess what? God still gave me this heart and his voice. I'll use it wheresoever he willeth. People want to intimidate, threaten me, threaten bodily harm. And these are homosexuals doing it. Homosexuals and trans. Delusional people thinking they're a girl when they were born with a weenus. Laughing and mocking me. That's just rich, baby. Rich. Have a nice day. It's Friday. Be safe.